Tonight, new revelations in the Tyre Nichols murder case. Fox 13 has obtained federal court documents alleging Nichols had drugs and stolen credit cards in his possession the night he was pulled over. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dominique Dillon, and for alleging Nichols had drugs and stolen credit cards in his possession the night he was pulled over. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dominique Dillon, and for
I'm Terrell Green. Now, this information comes 9 months after Tyre Nichols died from injuries he received after being pulled over, beaten, and tased. Fox 13 government reporter Kayla Solomon picks up the story with details. These new allegations came to light as attorneys for the 5 former Memphis police officers attempt to get the contents of Tyre Nichols' cell phone. This is part of the federal civil rights violation case against the 5. They argue they need the information to answer the question, why did Nichols run from police? They say it's central to their case. The attorneys say they discovered Nichols had magic mushrooms and stolen credit and debit cards in his car when he was stopped in January. The defense says that came from a TBI inventory of Nichols' car. They argue that's why they need access to his phone. The government responded saying the officers had no idea what was on Nichols' phone during the beating, so it was irrelevant. They contend the request for Nichols' phone is an attempt to attack Tyre Nichols' character. Now, the federal judge overseeing the case will eventually decide whether or not the defense gets to access Nichols' phone. The 5 former officers charged in the case will be back in court November 6th. That's when they'll set a trial date for the state charges. These 5 former officers are charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and other charges. They are also charged on the federal level. Those charges include civil rights, conspiracy, and obstruction offenses. Now, if convicted, some of the men could face life in prison on those 2 counts alone, and even the death penalty. The Nichols family has also filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the former officers.
So what's going on, y'all? Yes, I know I've been missing in action. As y'all can hear, I've been sick for the past week. I've also been working a lot, but I had to come speak on this because this is straight up bull crap, bruh. And I knew it and I called it. I knew Memphis would try to do something like this because that's what they do. That's what MPD does. That's what these lawyers do. They are really trying to assassinate Tyre's character by sitting here saying, well, he had shrooms and stolen credit card and debit cards. One, how do we know that wasn't even planted so they could justify what they did? I'm not saying it was, but I'm saying, how do we know it wasn't? Second, y'all didn't know he had shrooms in his car. Y'all didn't know he had stolen debit or credit cards, if that's the case. So how did that justify beating him to death? Third, it still doesn't negate the fact that y'all beat him to death. And now they're trying to get access to the phone, as you heard on the news clip. They're trying to get access to the phone so they can give a reason why he ran. And it's like the prosecution said, what the phone got to do with anything? What the fuck does the phone have to do with anything in this situation? How could y'all didn't know any of this stuff until y'all started digging deep. That is no justification for how y'all did that, boy. And then the rumors are still running wild with, oh, he was messing with the cops, baby mom. It's not fucking true. It's not. Yes, one of them sent pictures, but they sent pictures to gloat, to glorify, basically. Look what I did to this perp, ha ha ha. It wasn't, look what I did to your boyfriend. Even his own family has came out and said that shit was a lie. And yet we're still trying to run with that narrative. Stop. Like I told y'all, I'm in Memphis. I got family that has been beat by these folks. I got family members that have been beat by Scorpion Unit. They beat the shit out of my god brother. They did. Filed a complaint, ended up going bad for them because they ended up harassing him. There was another guy that's literally filing another lawsuit on Scorpion Unit. Scorpion Unit been out here doing this shit. This was nothing new. It just, Tyre's was so severe, it was finally brought to the light. And because social media is the way it is now, there was nothing, they couldn't hide it. How you gonna hide something like that when you got sky cams and all other shit? You can't hide shit like that. Everybody want to make it personal. It wasn't personal. Now, what made it personal was when he ran. That's what made it personal. I'm going to tell you. I've had cops tell me out of their own mouth, MPD, if we have to chase your ass, that's an automatic ass whoop. A lieutenant told me this out of his mouth. I'm not going to say his name. But he told me this. And I ain't got no reason to lie. I ain't got no dog in this fight. But yes, they've been doing this. And then it never fails. They always come up with bullshit ass excuses as to why they're not guilty or why they shouldn't be held accountable. And it's bullshit. This is going to become a circus act. I already see it now. I called this shit a while ago. I sat here and said, Memphis, well, it ain't even Memphis. Those cops in MPD, they're going to do everything in their power to get that shit dismissed. And if that means dragging Tyre, his family, and anybody else connected to him through the mud, God rest his soul, then so be it. That's how they do down here. They don't give a fuck how his name is being tarnished. They don't care. At the end of the day, they want you to believe he had shrooms, and he had stolen debit and credit cards, so he was a scammer. That's pretty much what they're hinting at. They're trying to make it seem like he's a stoner and a scammer. And when you have a narrative like that, oh, well, fuck him. Because that's how a lot of people view it here. I know I'm in this city. I know. And it's sad and unfortunate because the more and more this trial and all of these cases, all of us, they're going to continue to come up with bullshit so those officers can get off. And guess what? They might just get off. Maybe one or two of them will FaceTime. But I got a feeling they're going to get off. I do. I have a feeling that I do not have a lot of faith in our justice system. I don't. I've never had a lot of faith in our justice system when it comes to true justice for citizens. I don't. Because our justice system down here is so fucked up and corrupt. Maybe maybe one or two of them actually maybe do 4 or 5 years max. But as far as all of them doing 20, 30 years, you can forget it. It's not going to happen. I know it's not. Half of them going to go to fucking South Haven, Olive Branch, or wherever and go apply to be a cop there. And there'll be a cop there. We got to continue. This fight is not over. We got to let these folks know that we're watching them. Because what they're waiting and hoping is that all of this dies down. And we're not paying attention anymore. Just like they did with George Floyd. Just like they did with Breonna Taylor. Just like they've done with every other case. They let it die down. and then they want a sentence. We cannot take our foot off their necks. We can't. We gotta apply pressure. And folks, I see now folks are all so caught up in other cases that they're not even paying attention what's going on with Tyre's case. Tyre's case is about to get washed under the damn table and won't hear another damn peep. And we have to change that. We have to. Otherwise, all this shit was done in vain.